Thank you. How you doing, Damon?
I'm doing great, man. Really good to talk to you.
Thank you. Has it really been, I don't know, 25 years or 30 years in the music biz? Where did all the time go?
You know what, brother? I think I say something to that effect almost every day. It's been amazing. And, it's kind of like everything that I wanted as a youngster kind of came true because my only goal was, wow, what if I can make a living and raise a family playing music? And that's exactly what I've done. And, you know, coming to this moment of now being a full-time, for the most part, a fully committed solo artist, incredibly exciting. And, I'm proud of the record, and it's fun to talk to so many people, and kind of take a minute and look back and go, wow, look at where I've been, and look at some of the great musicians I've played with or written songs with. It's been a lot of fun, man, and the fun continues.
Yeah, that really is the key part. You're not doing. I mean, you are being a musician, so you are doing something you've already done, but you are doing something you've never done before. You're taking on a whole new chapter. I mean, this isn't just turning a page. This is turning multiple pages to start out to do something under your own name, where even the producing, I mean, right down to physically producing the record, you're taking on a lot of different roles in this new project.
Indeed, I am. And I just feel like I've been really energized by the changes in the music business. There's never been a better time for someone like myself that does have a variety of skills, Steve, more than just being a guitar player or a singer. I can make my way around the studio. I'm a pretty good songwriter. I take a good meeting if I need to talk to somebody about, booking a tour or whatever, man. And I just saw some other artists, particularly. I live in Nashville now. I've been here, my family and I've been here for about 6 years. And this town was really founded by country artists that would start out literally selling product out of the trunk of their car and just going town to town and playing shows with their trio or doing it solo acoustic or whatever. And, man, the internet changed everything, as as we all know now. So I think there's never been a better time to kind of think outside the box and go, hey, man, how could I really get everything I want, continue to be an artist, continue to write songs and put out new music, but also, have a life with my wife and my kids and be as involved with them as possible, because that is another one of the new changes in the business, Steve, is that, bands are touring more and more because, in a way, going on the road and playing shows is about the only way a lot of guys can generate revenue. And I get that and I respect that. But some of the guys I've played with in recent years, they just want to be on the road all the time.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's totally fine for them to want to do that. I understand it. I'm just not that guy anymore. Those years of, being on tour for 250 days out of the year, those are behind me, man. I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah. It's interesting to me that you mentioned Nashville. I have a cousin who's a rising country star, and I don't want to take anything away from her brilliant songwriting or her work ethic, but Nashville sort of kept that fire burning. Once she moved to Nashville, it was an extra inspiration. And it's interesting how cities can kind of take on a life of their own and can kind of get in your blood and can literally inspire you to do things.
Yeah, man. And again, this town definitely has that. And I've observed, particularly in the country business, you can do it one of several ways. I mean, there's a lot of young artists that will get developed kind of in the old school way that rock bands used to get developed, where you kind of get under the corporate umbrella and they have everything set up for you, publishing, songwriting, recording, styling, all of that stuff. And that's cool. I guess in a way that's kind of what I did when Brother Kane got its record deal, Steve. All we wanted to do was play shows and drink beer and chase girls. You know, we weren't thinking about business at all. So, you know, I've learned a lot in 30 years, and coming here to Nashville and watching how, you know, you can do the big corporate umbrella thing, or you can make a lot of decisions on your own and call the shots. I am so fortunate to have a very mobilized and energized small fan base of supporters, you know, that have kept up with my music over the last 3 decades. So kind of the mantra these days, man, is to bring those people in as close as you can and perform for them as often as possible, be as accessible as is practical on social media and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm just having a blast with it. You know, I could sit here and babble on about it for an hour, you know, just how inspiring, and, you know, there's just never been a better time for me to make a decision like this, to go solo.
Well, let's talk about some words, because words can inspire, and I got excited to listen just based on the title. Memoirs of an Uprising. That to me immediately says, okay, time to pay attention.
Wow. Thank you. Yeah, it was a good day when I came up with that title. I had put a sequence, you know, a running order of songs together that is the, you know, the version that is now on the album, kind of as an experiment, Steve, just to be like, okay, let me put them in this order and see what that feels like. And immediately I felt like, wow, this almost takes on the vibe of sort of a journal. You know, it starts in, you know, the protagonist is starting in obviously something has happened to this person and they're trying to figure it out. And there's some struggle, there's some fear, there's maybe some anger. And, you know, the way the songs played through, I felt like as it got to the end, that there was some resolve, there was a resolution, there was some change, there was like the potential to, you know, move on in a direction that was maybe better than ever before, than you started out in. So that, you know, memoirs, it felt like a journal. It felt like someone telling a story, and, you know, starting down low and winding up on a higher plane. So, I just thought it was the perfect title. I still do, man. I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, and I'm going to use an example of a word that we all know, but we don't use it every day. You could have used the term fear, but instead you used shivering. And that's almost more chilling than fear. It tells the same story,
wow,
but it paints it in a more mysterious light.
Well, Steve, thank you. Extra credit to you, my friend, for paying attention. Yeah, I co-wrote 9 of these 10 songs with an old friend, Jim Trogwin. We kind of came up in the Birmingham rock and roll scene together, Birmingham, Alabama, back in the early 90s is when we first met each other. And I had been writing just some sort of freestyle, almost like short stories, in my iPad while I was traveling, and just starting to come up with some ideas. And I got Jim involved, and we started bouncing things back and forth. And, you know, Shivering is one of the first things that we completed. And I can't remember being as excited about a singular song in a long time as I was that one. And you're totally right, man. You know, this guy is really freaking out. And, you know, you can tell he was fearful maybe about the relationship he was in all along. And now there's been some kind of an implosion, and it's really gone haywire. And so the picture Jim and I were trying to paint was almost like he's punch drunk, like dizzy. And I love that line that says, "I'm nodding off and I'm switching lanes." You know, that's a rough spot. That's a rough spot to find yourself in right there. And, you know, my band just delivered every song on the record, played so great, Steve. And Shivering is one of those songs that I feel like I'm going to play for the rest of my life. You know, and whatever shows I do going forward, you know, I play my old songs, love playing the new stuff. Shivering is it's special, and a lot of that special quality for me is because of the lyrics. So again, thank you for catching that and recognizing that.
Yes, sir. What's your go-to guitar these days? Do you use a variety, or do you just have the main one?
I've been a Les Paul guy pretty much my whole life. I grew up, there was a Gibson guitar in my house the day my folks brought me home from the hospital. Steve, my dad had a Gibson electric and an acoustic, and he just played for fun. My dad's 81. He still plays for fun. And, but there was just something iconic and, godlike about that Gibson logo and that guitar, you know, standing in the corner over there. So
if I remember correctly, I remember seeing you with a black one. You had an old black Les Paul.
Yeah, man, I have a black custom, and there's a black Explorer that I played for a while as well. But about 4 years ago, I ordered a brand new Les Paul. It's a 57 reissue from the Gibson Custom Shop here in Nashville, and that's my favorite guitar, man. It's really the best playing, best sounding one that I've ever owned. But you know, it's fun for me now to be kind of basing my operation right out of my hometown. So whenever we go out and do a run of dates, you know, I like to bring out different guitars, man. Those nice guitars are meant to be played and not to sit on a shelf, you know, or in a storage closet somewhere. So that's so much fun for me, man, to mix it up and bring out different guitars on different tour dates.
Yep, better played than displayed.
That is right. That is right.
Hey, total offshoot question, but hearing your reverence for the Les Paul, did you ever have the opportunity to meet Les Paul back when he was alive?
No, I didn't get a chance to meet Les, but there was a really cool thing back in the Brother Kane days. We went to, you may be familiar with what is called the NAMM show, you know, the
Sure.
big music equipment convention that they have, and the one in the winter is always out in Anaheim, California. And I was actually going out there as an artist for Gibson, and Les was going to be there. And I can't remember if he had a schedule conflict or if it was health related, but he wasn't able to come. But when I walked into the main entrance of the convention center to go get my credentials, one of the Gibson guys came over and he said, "Hey man, I'm going to save you some time. Here, just wear this badge and we can go on and enter the showroom." And he gave me Les Paul's badge, the one that he was going to wear had he come to the show.
Right.
So I got around the NAMM show all weekend as Les Paul. that was pretty exciting. He did sign a pick guard for me for one of my guitars. I had given it to someone at the company, and I said, "Hey, if you cross paths with him and he could sign this, it would be amazing." So, without a doubt, man, I still have that, and I cherish that.
Do you stay in touch with any of the old Brother Kane folk?
All the time, man. I literally texted Scott Collier 2 days ago, and Roman and I are even talking about bouncing a couple of song ideas back and forth. As crazy as it sounds to me, my new record just came out technically 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and I'm already 3 or 4 songs into the next one. You know, I'm just so on fire to write more songs and record more songs. So, you know, I'm so proud of everything that me and the guys accomplished. And, you know, more than that, I'm happy that we've maintained good relationships and keep in touch with each other. Everybody's so busy and kind of spread out now. It's definitely a challenge to get everybody in the same room together. But we most certainly keep in touch with each other.
And before we let you go, Damon, it's impossible to say. It's one of those things, you know, who's your favorite child? But if I had to say maybe my favorite artist of all time, it might possibly be Alice Cooper. And you had several years of playing with Uncle Alice. a long lineage of incredible guitar players have played with Alice. Just try to encapsulate what that whole thing was like.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I always tell people that joining Alice Cooper, I felt like I joined the circus. It was just wild. And, Alice had kind of set up his operation on the West Coast for the most part. A lot of the guys that had been in his bands in the last couple decades were guys from Los Angeles. And it was just a wild, random phone call, that I even got word that they were holding auditions. And just an incredible moment, because I've always loved those songs and I've always played along with those songs. I would have never imagined myself getting to be on stage with him. So for me to get the call from Coop that, hey, man, love your playing, love your singing background vocals, the gig is yours if you want it, that was a thrill. But even beyond that thrill was, much to my surprise, about 2 months after that, he wanted to go straight in and start making another album. So for me as a songwriter, to get to be in the room, sitting at a table with him and watch him turn into Alice Cooper, the songwriter, are you kidding me, man? How many great songs has that guy written? And, just he's a role model. Ultimately, Steve, he's a role model for all of us in the way he's run his career. Obviously, Coop's been outspoken proponent for sobriety for decades now. Our business chews up and spits out a lot of folks, and Coop is living proof that you can come out the other side of that and have a great career and keep making music. So we love Alice Cooper, man. It's funny you say Uncle Alice, because that's what he was to my kids. My two youngest literally grew up backstage at Alice Cooper shows. So
yeah,
he's very special.
That's kind of a Detroit thing. It dates back to, there was an old DJ in Detroit for many, many years named Arthur Penhallow, and he called.
I know Arthur P.
See, yeah. You know Arthur P. He started by calling Ted Nugent Uncle Ted, and then that grew into Uncle Bob for Seeger, and then it was Uncle Alice for Cooper, and so anybody who's from Detroit, we just kind of tag them with that.
I didn't realize that was an Arthur P. Moniker. That's incredible.
Yeah, he started it.
I have to tell you this, Steve. I was doing an interview with Arthur P. in 1998 when basically my wife, Linda, she had come to that show. It was a festival out at Pine Knob, and she came around the corner. I was literally sitting on a road case doing an interview with Arthur P. and when I laid eyes on her. So Arthur P. holds a monumental place on the mantle of our life and our relationship. So that's awesome that you brought him up.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's cool to see all the little crossroads intersect. Very cool.
That's right.
Well, all the breast. Well, there you go. Enjoy that too. All the best, Damon.
Steve, I've thoroughly enjoyed this, man. We certainly, Detroit means so much to us, man. We try to get up there 2 or 3 times a year to visit family, and I'm as we speak, man, I'm working on getting the band to town to play. It's been a long time since I've played in Detroit as a fronting a band and as a singer. So I can't wait to get back up there and play some.
Yeah, for sure. All right, brother. Well, take good care of yourself, and hopefully we'll connect the dots soon.
Hope our paths cross. Thank you so much, Steve.
All right, you got it, man.
All right, man. All the best.